at the Royal Canadian Legion continue with our community efforts, and lately there has been a lot more emphasis on teaching our young people about our history. If we do not know our history, then we are bound to make the same mistakes we have made before. Today and every day, we thank our veterans, together with the men and women and the Canadian forces that are serving either here or overseas or to the service of Canada. They put their lives on the line each and every day for us. There is no commemoration or praise or tribute that can truly match the magnitude of their service and sacrifice, and honoring our veterans and our military should be done each and every day, not just once a year. Our history, which includes the War of 1812 on Vimy Ridge, teaches us the meaning of sacrifice and is why we need to remember. Otherwise, we will lead ourselves back into the past and not into the future. If we do not pass these things on, then we are bound to make those mistakes that we made before. So please remember, not just today or on the 11th, but each and every day. Say thank you to a veteran for the freedom that we enjoy because of their sacrifices that they have made. On behalf of our community, our officers, our members of the Royal Canadian Legion, we profoundly thank you for your service to a grateful nation. I would ask those who are able to stand, please do so for the singing of our national anthem.
We
They shall grow not old, as we are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
The act of remembrance will now be read by Nathan Allison in French.
Ils étaient jeunes comme nous. Ils ont servi, donnant généreusement d'eux-mêmes. Nous leur promettrons, en début du temps qui passe, de porter le flambeau et de ne jamais oublier. Nous nous souviendrons d'eux. We will remember them.
Please be seated. I would now like to invite Councillor Jim Caraganis to speak on behalf of the City of Toronto.
I'd like to apologize in advance should I get emotional. I welcome you to this City of Toronto Remembrance Day ceremony. Before I begin, I wish to acknowledge that the land we're standing on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississauga of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. I also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by the Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaty signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. On November the 11th each year, we pause to remember all of the men and women.
We also think of all of those that have served and continue to serve our country during times of war, conflict, and peacekeeping for the UN. On this day, we also pause to remember to think about the commitment and sacrifice of all those who have supported Canadian military efforts from the front lines to the home front during the First World War, the Second World War, the Korean peacekeeping operations in Afghanistan, and in other places around the world. Our country has answered the call to fight when necessary, but has also answered the call to advice, assist, and train others, all while protecting the peace and preserving the freedoms we enjoy today.
In Toronto, we're joined by many residents who have taken refuge from war and conflict and have become our neighbors and friends. On November the 11th marks 100 years since armistice was declared, which ended the First World War. More than 4,000 citizens of Toronto gave their lives in service during the war, and we cannot forget their sacrifice. The Great War, as it was known at the time, had a big impact on life back home, and Toronto was the focal point for recruiting, training, and raising funds for the war efforts. The First World War resulted in a tragic loss of life. More than 650,000 Canadian men and women served their country, and 668,000 gave their lives. In Toronto, more than 4,000 men and women did not return home or died from their injuries. This generation is no longer amongst us. But at the going down of the sun on November the 11th, we will remember them. Bells will ring across Toronto 100 times to commemorate the end of World War I. Bell ringing is a powerful symbol of peace and reminds us of the bells that spontaneously run around the world on this date, November the 11th, 1918 to celebrate the armistice. Please take a moment when you hear the bells on November the 11th to reflect on the many who served in the First World War and those who continue to serve our country today. On this National Day of Remembrance, we join Canadians from coast to coast to coast in remembering those who served Canada in the past, and we salute those who continue to serve Canada today.
Our veterans are young and old, and to every generation, they are our heroes. All of our service members, some are here today among us, deserve our eternal gratitude. We thank you for your service. Others who did not return had their lives cut short, and we must never forget them. We also recognize the impact that active service had on families over the years. Their sacrifices must never be forgotten. Let us remember. Thank you.
At this time, if you can, please stand for the first hymn, which is the Hymn to Freedom. The words are in your programs. Scotty Newlands will lead us in that.
Please be seated. I would now like to call upon Kaylee Howard Tiallo and Maggie Elliott to recite in Flanders Fields.
In Flanders fields. In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below.
We are the dead short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields.
Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw, the torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Now I would like to call upon the national winner for the Royal Canadian Legion Poem Contest. I would like to call upon Sergeant Fabian Bogo of the 188 Royal Canadian Army Cadet Corps, who will read the scars written by Trinity Agnew.
The scars. The scar on my face tells a heroic tale of a battle not long ago in the muddy fields of Passchendaele. 1916, walking through the town square, seeing posters to enlist passed every which where. I was a proud young boy with a gleam in my eye, wanting to serve my country, but destined to die. Within 8 months, I was shipped away, waking at 5 to train hard each day. They handed me a gun and taught me to fight smart. War is hard, they said, so never lose your heart. And for months I trained under the scalding sun, thinking I had seen the worst, but the war hadn't yet begun. It wasn't until I saw a sea blood red that I really understood. By morning I'd be dead. And with that, lying in the trenches below, my mind never stopped wondering what horror was in stow. And day after day, I woke to a pile of dead. And day after day did I begin to dread, wondering if the shots would ever pause. Why did we fight? Was the dead worth the cause? 4,000 and more whose lives had been given, but in the end, would peace be enough for the living? The burnt bodies kept coming, like a blur in my mind. Friends and more I'd too often find. The scars on their faces, a mirror of their hearts. The result of merciless killing, in which all did their part. Innocent fathers turned vicious and wild, whose only reason to fight was to free their young child. The scars on my face show the pain of the deceased, and of countless veterans who will never find their peace. Though the world may be sound, the war seeming far behind, we will never forget the horrors in our mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant. Now I would like to invite Padre Kelly Jackson to lead us in prayer and have a few words from the Lord.
For those of you who would like to join me in prayer, I invite you to turn your hearts to God for your understanding. For those who prefer not to pray, I invite you to this moment for personal reflection as others do pray. God of hope and peace, in the centennial year of the end of World War I, we pause our business to pay our respect and appreciation for those who have gone before in service of Canada. We especially light the candle of remembrance in our hearts for those who sacrificed body, mind, and spirit in the hope of a better world for all of us. Particularly, we reflect on the cost paid by those who made the ultimate sacrifice for Queen and country. As we remember, lift up our leaders, both civil and military. May they continue to lead our communities and our forces in a way of unity, service, and righteousness. By their leadership, may Canada continue to shine as a light to the world of hope, diversity, and respect for the dignity of all. Finally, when we leave here today to go about our business of this weekend, may we remember the call to serve those who have given and continue to give so much. Make us worthy to stand in support to those who suffer in body, mind, and spirit, especially to those for whom the burden of life itself has become so heavy that they may have contemplated taking or even attempting to take their own lives. Aid us, Lord, in knowing what the way forward is in supporting our veterans through all the complexities of life. Open your hearts to the possibilities of tomorrow and the hope you set before call to mind those who gave their lives that our nation might live. Alas, that was a preservation that should have entailed the loss of so much treasure, should have brought so much suffering, should have demanded so many young and promising young lives.
The only fitting memorial to those sacrifices is our self-dedication to the task of abolishing all inner strife and hatred and bitterness among all of us. So in the spirit of community, let's pause to remember lives lost and lives forever changed in war. May we also remember that there is no greater demonstration of love than to lay down one's life for another. Our reflections here today honor those who made that choice, as well as the many more willing to do so if called upon. To honor their legacy, we must commit ourselves to be more vigilant in our love for others, for our nation, and the cause of freedom, justice, and peace throughout the world. May the remembrance of the price we paid for our life as a nation compel us to seek justice, to foster freedom, and to pursue the ways of peace. May our nation be a source of blessing to all its people and to the rest of humankind. Thank you.
We will now start our wreath-laying ceremony, and I will start calling. The City of Toronto. Government of Canada. The Province of Ontario. Veterans Affairs Canada. The 32 Brigade. 258. Rank Highland Creek Ranch Seniors Association. 258, Culliver. Royal Canadian Legion, Brigadier Owen Martin, Branch 345. Highland Creek Branch 258, Ladies Auxiliary. Royal Canadian Legion, Scarborough Centennial 614. Royal Canadian Legion, Dam Busters, Branch 617.
Here on this Remembrance Day, so many years along, I stand before your monument among the teeming throng. The last post now is ended, and the cannon's roar has gone to the skirl.
Queen's Own Rifles Association of Canada.
Veterans marching on. Here's to you, the proud Canadian soldiers. Soldiers, sailors, airmen, one and all. Here's to you, the proud Canadian soldiers.
Hong Kong Ex-Servicemen's Association.
For every new day dawning, and when evening shadows fall, the proud procession marches past, the onlookers applaud, and in succession
Korean Veterans Association.
pilot them on. Their numbers may be dwindling with each year passing on, but time cannot diminish them, nor the battles lost and won.
The Royal Canadian Sea Cadet Corps on behalf of the Navy League of Canada.
Canadian soldiers, soldiers, sailors, airmen, one and all. Here's to you, the proud Canadian soldier. For every new day dawning,
The Prince of Wales Navy League Cadet
when
Corps.
evening shadows fall. Remember Reap and Vimy Ridge, remember Passchendaele, and the proud Canadian
The Royal Canadian Air Cadet Squadron 110 Black Hawk.
in the skies above Great Britain, on the North Atlantic seas, Dunkirk and Dieppe, North Africa. Here on this Remembrance Day, I watch the sunset glow. The passion now is fading, and everyone's gone home. I stand before your monument,
City of Toronto, honor bar.
and I can hear the angels singing, traveling for and here's to you, the proud Canadian soldiers. Soldiers, sailors,
Toronto Police Services.
here's to you, the proud Canadian soldiers. For every new dawning, and when evening shadows fall. Here's to you, the proud Canadian soldier. Soldiers, sailors,
Toronto Police Services.
one and all. Here's to you, the proud Canadian soldier. For every new day dawning, and when evening shadows fall. Here's to you, the proud Canadian
Toronto Fire Services.
soldiers, sailors, airmen, one and all. Here's to you, the proud Canadian soldier. Oh, for every new day dawning, and when evening shadows
Toronto Paramedic Services. Toronto Hydro Corporation. The Toronto District School Board. Toronto Catholic District School Board. The Toronto Professional Firefighters Association. Toronto Civic Employees Local 416. Scouts Canada. the Salvation Army, the Knights of Columbus, Freemasons of Toronto East District.
Here on this Remembrance Day, so many years along, I stand before your monument among the teeming throng. The last post now has ended, and the cannon's road has gone. To the skirl of pipe and drum, I see the veterans
The War Amps,
marching.
Operation Legacy.
Here's to you, the proud Canadian soldier. Soldiers, sailors, airmen, one and all. Here's to you, the proud Canadian soldier. For every new day dawning, and when evening shadows
Tony Stacy Center for Veterans Care.
the proud procession marches past, the onlookers applaud, and in succession, one by one, we smile at them and nod. Their numbers may be dwindling, with each year passing on.
Pause for thoughts.
Time cannot diminish them, nor the battles lost and won. Here's to you, the proud Canadian soldier. Soldiers, sailors, airmen, one and all. Here's to you, the proud Canadian soldier.
Any other citizens or groups wishing to lay a wreath?
New day dawning, and when evening shadows fall, remember Wreath and Vimy Ridge, remember Passchendaele, and the proud Canadian soldiers, the day that Hong Kong fell. In the skies above Great Britain, on the North Atlantic seas, Dunkirk and Dieppe.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to stand here, but I'm going away from what is printed in front of me because I believe that you might want to know who this person is. To my immediate right is a gentleman sitting right here. His name is Fred Arsenal. He's a veteran, and many of you may not know, that quilt on front of him is a quilt of valor. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for Fred. Fred, on behalf of all of us here today, sir, we thank you for your service.
Well, while I have you standing, if you're unable to stay standing, please feel free to sit. We'll have the hymn, and then we will go into the royal anthem. So if we can do the second hymn, O God, our help in ages past. Benediction for today. Lord God, our days and nights proceed from you. You give them to provide a rhythm to our lives. Through both shadow and light, lead us to that day that will never end. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Sergeant at Arms. The national anthem.
I would like to make a special note, ladies and gentlemen, you can please be seated for a few moments. Wreath layers, please, you may want to take your wreath with you today so that you have them for the cenotaph ceremony on November the 11th. The service is at Kingston Road and Danforth Road Cenotaph. Everyone is welcome to enjoy the refreshments immediately following. Sergeant at Arms, prepare to dismiss your colors. Ladies and gentlemen, while everybody is just before you all leave, I will ask upon you to remain seated for 1 minute. This is very unusual for us to do this. I would like to ask Idalina to come to the front podium, please. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been zone commander for D5 and it's been my privilege to be here for several of these events. And without the people in the background, we will never get our task done. So, Idalina, on behalf of the Royal Canadian Legion, Zone D5, we would like to thank you. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, those things don't happen very often, and we have to make sure that our veterans know how we feel, and I hope you will go and meet Fred. He's a wonderful man. I've met him several times at several Warriors Day parades, and it's truly an honor to be in his presence. So, drive safely, everyone.